Greetings, everyone, and welcome to this presentation on how to work safely around heavy equipment. Minnesota Rule 5207.1000 identifies minimum safety requirements for the safe operation of mobile earth-moving equipment. This rule pertains to both equipment operators and people exposed to heavy equipment in the work that they do. Mathewitz Construction Company is providing this PowerPoint presentation to our subcontractors with the expectation that you will cover this information with all of your personnel who work on our projects. We ask that you provide training to your people and that you provide us proof of that training. Every year, about 150 construction workers are killed and hundreds more seriously injured while operating or working around construction equipment. Typical reasons these deaths and injuries occur because workers will walk right up to the machine inside the danger zone without the operator's knowledge. Workers will also get into the operator's blind spots and the operator doesn't know that they are there. Ground personnel will also get into pinch point areas that expose them to crushing type injuries, or they work under suspended loads. The primary reason for these serious injuries or deaths occur are because complacency sets in. Workers get too comfortable with their surroundings. Typical types of construction equipment used that fall under the 5207.1000 standard include front-end loaders, motor graders, backhoes, bulldozers, rollers or compactors, excavators, and skid steers. Basically, any type of moving equipment on a construction job site falls under this standard. This also includes on-highway vehicles such as concrete trucks, side and belly dump trucks, and water trucks. Minnesota Rule 5207.1000 states that earth-moving equipment operators and all other employees working on the ground exposed to mobile earth-moving equipment shall be trained in the safe work procedures pertaining to mobile earth-moving equipment and in the recognition of unsafe or hazardous conditions. The key element to this standard is understanding blind spots and how to safely approach heavy equipment. The danger zone is a 25-foot radius area directly around the machine. Ground personnel are not allowed to be in this area unless they have been cleared by the machine operator. The following slides will show you blind spots on different machines and the process you are required to go through to safely approach heavy equipment. The gray shaded areas represent blind spots on a bulldozer. The operator in the machine cannot see you if you are standing in the gray shaded area. Again, you are not allowed to be in this gray shaded area unless the operator knows you are there. The 25-foot danger zone is equal to about 8 meters. On this chart, you can see how little the dozer operator can see around his machine inside that 8-meter circle. The best way for you to communicate with the operator would be from inside of a truck or vehicle on a CB radio. If you're on the ground, you should stay outside the 25-foot radius danger zone and position yourself where the operator can see you. To get the operator's attention, you can wave to him or give him a stop sign, which is a hand signal of a closed fist. Never enter the danger zone without consent of the operator. It makes no difference if the machine is in use or idling. Never assume the operator sees you. Gaining eye contact with them is just the first step in the process. As a general rule, you should never approach a machine from the rear. That is especially true, as you can see with this excavator. Here you can see again the shaded area showing the blind spots of an excavator and why you should never approach this machine from the rear or the right side. The front-end loader offers the best opportunity to be seen with good sight lines through the cab windows and in their system of mirrors. but you can never assume the operator is using their mirrors. If you can't see the operator either directly or through their mirrors, then they cannot see you. Some safety tips for ground workers include: never cross directly in front of or immediate behind equipment or trucks without communicating with the operator or driver. Coordinate with the operator or driver before performing any work near the equipment. In other words, develop a plan and then stick to it. Pay close attention to the machine that is moving with a raised bucket. As you can see by the diagram on the rough terrain forklift, driver's sight lines while traveling with a raised bucket or a load on are compromised. You should always watch for sudden movements and changes in directions. You can also limit access points for the work zone by placing barricades or cones to establish pedestrian-free zones. Here, the blind spots for a motor grader are shown in the orange shaded area. Some safe operating tips for machine operators include: set up a barricade or warning tape to prevent unnecessary entry into the work zone, or use a spotter to control foot traffic when you have a lot of work activity in a small or tight work zone. Stop the machine if someone needs to approach. One last safety tip would be to perform a 360 walk-around inspection to look for hazards. This should be done every time you exit the machine. Before you get back in, walk around the machine looking for hazards in the direction you are about to travel. And then also look the machine over for defects such as fluid leaks, cracks in the frame, loose or missing bolts, and proper functioning lights. After you have gained the attention of the operator, they have the following responsibilities. Before you can approach a machine, the operator must place the attachment on the ground, put the transmission in neutral, and apply the parking brake. Only then is it safe for you to approach. Anytime the operator exits a machine, those three things must be done to keep the machine secure from unwanted movement. Again, they are attachments on the ground, controls in neutral, and parking brake applied. Other safety tips for ground workers include: wear high visibility clothing when working around heavy equipment and construction trucks on the project. Avoid positioning yourself in a blind spot. Stay visible to the operator. Never ride on equipment unless there is a seat with a seat belt. Absolutely no rides are allowed in loader or skid steer buckets. Never walk or work under suspended loads. Another more common and serious hazard machine operators face every day is overhead power lines. The safest way to work around overhead power lines is to de-energize them. But we all know that rarely, if ever, happens. So we must manage the risk that comes with the job. Maintain at least a 10-foot clearance when working around overhead power lines. However, that distance will increase based on the voltage of the lines. It is imperative to know the voltage of every power line you work under. The chart shown here provides you with minimum safe clearance distances for the voltage of all power lines. If you do not know the voltage of the power line, a good rule to follow is to stay at least 25 feet away, as this would cover about 95% of the lines you would work with. Pictured here are some tools you can use to alert workers to the presence of an overhead power line hazard. You can have the local power company come on site and place flags on the line. The lookup signs or the green cone that you see here are placed directly under the power line, are also a good marker to draw attention to the hazard as well. This is a fatalogram that illustrates the danger when you have contacted a power line. In this example, the driver has just picked up a load of material and was leaving the mine site. Shortly after leaving the pit while traveling down the road, the driver activated his tarp to cover his load. He was at that time traveling under a 7,000-volt power line. The tarp arm contacted the power line. Another truck which was driving behind this one got on the CB to tell the driver he had contacted the power line with the tarp arm. Without acknowledging the radio call, the driver stopped and exited the truck. With the tarping mechanism still in contact with the power line, the driver exited the truck. As he stepped off the truck and contacted the ground, he received an electrical shock that threw him to the ground away from the truck. The driver then stood up, attempted to re-enter the truck's cab, and was fatally shocked when he contacted the truck for the second time. If your vehicle is in contact with an overhead power line, you should never touch the machine and the ground at the same time. Here are some best practice rules if you are in a truck, machine, or even your personal vehicle that has contacted a power line. If you can pull away from the line, do so. If you cannot pull away, stay in the machine or vehicle and call 911. But if you must exit the vehicle, you must jump from the vehicle to the ground without touching the machine and the ground at the same time. After landing on the ground, hop or shuffle your feet as you move away from the machine for a distance of at least 50 feet. Stay in the area to warn others to stay away until help arrives. Underground excavations is another high-risk area. One of the more dangerous activities in underground excavations is exposing the existing lines without damaging them. The Minnesota Gopher State One Call Handbook outlines the rules regarding exposing, supporting, and protecting these lines. Some safety tips when working around or exposing underground utility lines are: always contact Minnesota Gopher State One Call and request to have the lines marked before digging. Maintain a safe distance from the marked lines by hand digging when within the 2-foot tolerance zone. Dig cautiously with blunt edge tools to avoid damaging the line. Never assume the markings provided by the locator are accurate. The most important of these rules is the requirement to hand dig within the 2 feet of a buried utility line. Buried utilities are often mismarked or even not marked at all. Subpart 4 of the 5207 standard addresses the need for high visibility clothing. Each person working on the ground who is exposed to earth-moving equipment shall be provided with and required to wear a high visibility warning vest or high visibility garments. A high visibility garment is defined as being a Performance 2 Class 2 garment or greater as specified by ANSI Standard 107-2004. 5207 standard says that each employee exposed to or working adjacent to moving motor vehicles as a part of the employee's assigned job shall be provided with and required to wear a high visibility vest. The lime green t-shirt you see here is something we are more commonly seeing on the job. It is not legal as it lacks the reflective piping and it doesn't say Class 2 on the tag. If the high visibility personal protective equipment becomes faded or dirty or defaced, reducing the equipment's performance below the manufacturer's recommendation, the high-vis PPE shall be immediately removed from service and replaced. Of the 6 workers you see in this picture, only one of them is wearing the proper clothing. Nathowitz Construction appreciates all of you, and we look forward to working with you to provide a high-quality, safe, and efficient project. Our primary objective is for all who work on our project to return to their home and families each day free from injury. Thank you.